From the left coast, it's a show for the streets. Strictly for the culture, strictly for our people. YouTube the views, log on and stream. Some news you can use with your host Khrissy B. Get familiar, yeah. Get familiar. Get familiar. Get familiar. You gotta get familiar. Yeah.
We're back. Okay. So get familiar with Matthew Sutton. Inglewood is your home.
Yep.
South Central. Yep. Anybody that's not familiar with Inglewood landmarks, give me some specifics.
77th and 3rd Avenue, right there off of Van Ness.
Okay. And did you go to school in Inglewood too?
Yeah, I went to Daniel Freeman and First Church of God Christian School.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, didn't know that. Okay. And then so that's where your foundation was, like mom and dad, and then you kind of grew up. So moving forward, what was high school you went to?
Fairfax.
Fairfax. Yep. I didn't know that. I thought you were more like in the hood.
Nah, my pops took me out of the hood. I was like, nah, we ain't gonna. I wasn't going to Westchester. Moms wanted me to go to Westchester or Inglewood, but Dad was like, nah, we're gonna get you some of this culture.
Fairfax. Yeah. Okay, that's new. I didn't know that. But I feel like we've been cool too for a minute. I actually saw you perform for the first time at the Love Fest. And I didn't realize we had some like mutual ties.
LA Small.
Yeah, LA Small. We had some mutual ties, but I first saw you perform at the Love Fest and I was very, very impressed. But at that time, I really didn't know like we had mutual friends and mutual ties. I was very, very impressed because I felt like you're very poetic. You're very poetic. And you're also conscious. And it's very much different from the original, I guess, LA sound that we're in now.
Right.
There's a sound, obviously, and it's a whole new wave of West Coast music, and you're completely opposite from that.
Yeah.
You're completely opposite from that. So kind of give me some background and some insight on where that came from. Like, I know when people, obviously, are storytelling in music, it kind of comes from somewhere. Yeah. So kind of give me some background on where your story comes from.
My mom was a writer.
Okay.
So that's where a lot of my poetry comes from. She taught me how to write poetry, like 8 years old. So as a little boy, I was writing just stories, you know what I mean, with the structure, the beginning, the middle, and the end, just coming up with all these ideas and structuring them like they were screenplays and stuff like that. So that's where the poetic and creative side comes from. But the grittiness and I say some of the pain that's in my music, a lot comes from Tupac. I draw a lot of my inspiration from Tupac.
That makes sense.
And Marvin Gaye. And really, I just want to be honest, you know what I mean? So I don't really try to make music to appease the masses. I want to share my story with the masses, you know what I mean? Whether it's going to make somebody laugh or cry, you know what I mean? I want to give my authentic self, my story. So my music might sound different because I'm not really trying to fit a market, you know what I mean? I'm really just trying to fit myself and share myself with people. So that's always just been my approach, and that's probably why I sound so poetic. Almost it's like I'm sharing my diary, you know what I mean? So.
And at what age did you start, I guess, writing or doing poetry?
Like I say, 8 was when I first picked up the pen, you know what I mean, to start writing stories. But I say 8th grade was when I got my first.
Do you remember your first rap?
No, I remember.
Like the bars, or like how you, or like what that shit was sounding like when you first started rapping? Trash.
Oh, I'm not gonna say trash because.
So you had to kind of develop it.
I definitely had to develop it. I had to get around some people that knew what they were doing. But my first poem that I actually wrote got published in my school yearbook, so that's what gave me my confidence, and that was 8th grade.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. I wrote. It said, "Millennium, I wish you come quicker. I can't wait to see the new 2000 bumper sticker."
Oh my God!
Right.
The fact that you remember it though.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the first. That was just the first line. It was a whole lot more, but that's just what I remember most. Yeah.
And then another, I would say, I guess, element to you is that you're a barber. You cut hair. And he actually is the man behind my fresh cuts. Thank you. Everybody been wondering, like, you know, my new look and this style that I'm growing in. It pretty much, you know, homage to you. And you're really, really good at it. So when did the barbering start kind of kicking in? Because that's a whole nother, like, career.
Well, I started cutting hair. I'm gonna tell the story how it all began because I didn't plan on being a barber at all. Like my thing was sports. I played baseball till I was 26. But so I had this jacked up flat top. My mom used to give me, like, horrible kid in play. She used to give me and my brother, these horrible flat tops. So I used to get tired of getting teased at school. So one day I just came home and buzz cut it. And from then, my brother was like, "Can you do me?" Did him. Then my cousin was like, "Can you do me?" And then from there, it turned into my friends. And, you know, thankfully they let me mess them up because I messed up a whole lot before I got good, you know what I mean? Like, so I say my professional barbering career began in 2007, actually. And that only came about because, honestly, it was the closest thing to selling dope for me.
Wow.
That was my background, you know what I mean? So it was instant cash to my hand, and I could hustle it like it was dope, you know what I mean? So that's how I literally got into cutting hair, because I couldn't find a job. I was fresh out of jail, probably had been out of jail like 6 months, had lost my job at the oil refinery, you know what I mean? So I was just looking for something that was familiar to me, you know what I mean? I like to hustle. I like to create money for myself, so.
So that's what you went to jail for, drugs? Selling drugs?
One of the times.
Oh.
I've been a couple times.
A couple times.
Yeah, I've been a couple times, but yeah, the last time when I got out that, yeah, because I didn't want to. The only jobs they're offering were like $7.50 an hour.
Yeah.
And I wasn't.
And that's what minimum wage was back then.
Nah, back then it was probably like $6.50 at $6.25. This was like 2000.
I cannot believe that. That's how much minimum wage. That's nothing.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's pennies.
Definitely was pennies. So that's what caused me to cut hair, because, like I say, it's booming. It could boom. It had potential to boom.
But now it's blossomed into like, this is a real business for you, a very lucrative business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You keep it on the low.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but besides that, of course, okay, and then the music is more full-time for you, though.
It's getting to be full-time.
Yeah.
It's getting to overtake my barbering career, which I wanted it to, you know what I mean? Like I've been cutting hair for 13 years now, almost 13 years. So.
Okay.
But been doing music, too, along the way, you know what I mean? Writing for other people and just performing, because like I said, I was a poet first. My thing was spoken word until around 2015, and that's when I really came around and got up there with a live band and noticed that I just was natural. I had a natural knack for rhythm and melody, because I just tapped in with them immediately, and that's just what I've been doing. That was January 13th, 2015.
Okay. And you opened up the new year with Matthew so it's Matthew Sutton Mondays.
Yep, Matthew Sutton Monday.
And that's basically you dropping a new visual every Monday.
With a song.
That's
Monday.
a lot of work every week.
Yeah.
And for what? Like, what was your drive behind that?
I follow my spirit, you know what I mean? I follow my spirit a lot, so it was just something like I had wrote it down. Actually, I have a manifestation book, so I wrote in my book probably like 2 years ago, I drop a song every week on SoundCloud. You know what I mean? So that was something that was really just in the back of my mind. But I'm a pretty driven person, you know what I mean? So I like to push myself. And so I just look for voids in the business. Any business I do, I look for the void, and I try to exploit that void. So what I noticed in music was nobody really doing that. You know what I mean? The last person that I've heard, everybody always tells me, like, I remind them of Russ and how he was dropping a song every week. And so I was like, okay, he was doing it every week. Well, I'm going to put a video along with it too then. You know what I mean? So that was really my motivation behind it. Just, I wanted to outwork everybody. You know what I mean? That's my thing. I just outwork people. And that's my motive, or that's the route that I've always been told or taught to take when you want to become something. You know what I mean? Just outwork somebody. It might not be your talent. It might be anything else. But if you outwork them, you know what I mean? You'll stand the test of time and you'll be there.
I really like the one you did. I'm not sure what the name of the song is, but you had a sign up that said "Keep Going."
Yeah.
And you left it at the Culver City Stair.
Yeah.
Which was dope, because I actually ran into it. I meant to take. I was like, damn, I forgot to take a picture. And I've seen like the homeboy, like, Topic, because obviously he cut his hair, but I've seen it on social media a couple of times. But I thought that was super dope. That was creative for one, because you at the top when everybody is kind of finishing.
Yep.
And you had that, and I just kind of saw the reaction of people that were like, thank you, or getting pictures. I thought that was very clever and creative to do that up there.
Yeah.
And that's what I think I really like about your music and what you stand for, is because you're for the people.
Yeah.
And like you say, you're not really kind of just following a trend. You're really touching someone's spirit, and you're inspiring people, and you're instilling like hope, and you're telling a story that comes from maybe a painful place, but you came out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of still going through my own little pain, but you know what I mean? Like, I share that too, though. You know what I mean? I don't really try to hold back nothing.
Yeah.
So I haven't released the songs yet, but songs that are coming later on, I'm going to open up a whole lot more. Yeah. Just because, like you say, like, we need healing right now more than anything. You know what I mean? Like, we've been shaking our ass for a long time now, but we ain't really healed during that process. So, like I said, I wanted to fill the void. You know what I mean? Like, it's music to shake your ass to, but it's nothing really to heal to. Yeah. So I try to make healing tones. I try to make music that's real soothing. The type of shit you can listen to when you by yourself. You know what I mean? To really like reflect when you have those vulnerable moments by yourself. Because I know my songs might make you cry. You might not want to cry in front of everybody. Yeah. But when you get at home, turn my shit on, like, you gonna cry for sure, because you're gonna relate because I'm not lying. You know what I mean? Like I'll be crying in the booth a lot of times. You know, got to tell my engineer like, yo, hold on real fast.
It's coming from a real place.
Because I gotta wipe tears. You know what I mean? Just because like I'm not lying.
Yeah.
But my like you said, my intentions are to heal people. You know what I mean? I want to get to the people directly to them. So that's why I left that sign up there. One, because I've been up there and I know what it's like when you get to that point of the stairs. Like your legs feel like jello and all of that.
And
so
you want to stop.
You want to stop.
Yeah.
You want to stop. But I wanted to create the analogy through putting a sign right there, because once you do go up to the top, you get the full view of the city. It's like a 360 view of the city and all of that stuff that you won't get if you just stop right there at that place. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to, like you say, be creative and get straight to the people and put that sign right there to kind of inspire them to keep going in every aspect, whether it's on them stairs, on that hill, or with life. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get to that moment to where you're gonna want to give up just because you might not even, I don't know, you might not want to go further, but sometimes when you just push yourself a little bit more, it's worth it at the end of the day. So that's why I did it. That's
great. That's really great to hear. And we're in the midst right now. Times are just interesting with COVID, living in this pandemic. Right. There's a lot of political. I don't even know the proper term for it, but just we're just like really a lot of politics going on right now. Yeah. Of course, just with the new president. With the whole Black Lives Matter movement, it's just a real big shift. And for us, this is like the first thing that we've kind of experienced, I would say, traumatic since like Rodney King to me. Like, if you really think about what we've gone through that was traumatic, was Rodney King. Like I remember vividly driving down Crenshaw and seeing like all of Crenshaw, what is it, from Rodeo? I think it's Obama now, but like that pocket. On fire for a minute, and it took years for them just to build all of that up. And I had to compare. I was thinking like, what did we? Because George Floyd was a domino effect, and then our city, we out there protesting, and you were all in the mix. As
always,
you were out there. You had your signs, and you were on Crenshaw, and you were on the corner of Slauson and Crenshaw, I think it was, and
so I'll be all over.
Yeah, you were all over the place. I mean, you had your signs out there, but you were taking a stance, and you feel like that's the position of the role you needed to play. But how was it like being in the mix of that? Because I wanted to go out there because I just wanted to kind of feel the vibes and the energy of the people, but how was it kind of just being in it? Because I also had to think like, I need to come home to my daughter. I just didn't know how chaotic it was.
Yeah, it's pretty chaotic. And I'm gonna say this first, like a disclaimer, like if you're not ready for that type of life to be amongst all of the people, like don't go out there, because there's so many different variables out there. You have people that are literally there to start stuff. Like you have people that have already their own set agenda, and their mission is to go out there, throw stuff, get people riled up. Because, it's outside agendas that are just over our head, So just being out there, you see that. Like you see the people throwing rocks, you see the people talking shit to police, you see the people spray painting, but then you see a lot of genuine people out there too that are really just out there to help. So whenever I would go out there, actually, I would be counter-protesting. Like I would be counter-protesting what they're out there doing. So they'll be out there saying, fuck the police. I would go ahead and go hug the police.
Wow.
And tell the police, like, hey, bro, I understand. I understand.
And how was their reaction when you did that?
Oh, it fucks them up every time.
Really?
Yeah, it messes them up every time, because they already have a preconceived notion of what I'm going to be or what type of time I'm going to be on when I walk up to them. So I do it just to sow that seed, So say they're driving down the street. They might have a little memory of me in their head, like, man, this dude that looked just like this cat walked up to me and gave me a hug, told me I love him, or told me that he loves me, So I do it for those type of reasons. Like they were out there with the BLM and Black Lives Matter. I was out there saying unity, because my thing is we ain't nothing if we all don't come together. I could place a color on it all day long, but that's still separation, and we ain't making no headway if we separated. So I was going out there screaming unity, where everybody was like, Black Lives Matter. I was out there, Like, whereas I'm not against it, but I do understand that even in itself was created. That was an idea that was altered a long time ago.
Did you feel like a lot of it was kind of like they were doing it to be just kind of out there, just to be out there, and a lot of them really didn't know what they were out there for?
I mean, it's trendy. It's trendy. It's you see it on Instagram, you want to get out there. You know what I'm saying? So.
And it was more whites and others than it was blacks, right?
And that's the funny part too, because you would think that it would be Black people everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But it reminds me of those days when Malcolm X was having white people approach him and want to attach themselves to the movement. So it's pretty much just history repeating itself. But what I did notice that a lot of them were genuine. You know what I mean? A lot of them had great intentions. They were really out there for us. You know what I'm saying? So that was refreshing because in my mind, I stay in South Central. I don't really see that many white people.
You don't.
So when I go out there, I'm skeptical a lot of times. So they help me shed those layers and help me become more loving. You know what I mean? Because I go out there judgmental a lot of times. Looking at them like, man, they ain't really for us like that. They just out here. But you
They
find,
the ones tearing up all
man, they be. Sometimes they are tearing up the shit, but sometimes like for instance, it was this one girl that got up there and man said something so powerful one day, but I forget what it was, but I could just feel how genuine she was, man. That she really wanted things to change. Like she was really just as tired as me, but from the other perspective. Like I go through it, but she has to be the person in that skin every day who has to watch her people and have ancestors and be attached to this heinous culture, that they've created for everyone around the world. So it was to hear her even be fed up, just as fed up as me, because it's two sides to it. It's not just us getting fucked up. You know what I'm saying? It's them mentally fucking themselves up too. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I always go out there and look at the big picture instead of just what I'm feeling, because it's more than what I'm just feeling. You know what I mean? What I'm feeling is only inside of me, but you feeling your own separate thing. He feeling his own separate thing. So like I said, I would go out there to kind of bring some balance. You know what I mean? Because everybody's screaming, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. So now the negativity is just at its peak. So like I said, I'll go out there and be saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. And it will create that balance. Because like, for instance, when I went out there with Nipsey for his funeral procession, actual fight happened between somebody that was in the crowd and the police, to where somebody came, socked the police in the jaw. And this is something that don't nobody know unless you was there, because they didn't put it on the news. But he came out, socked the police in the jaw.
His body was being...
It wasn't even there yet. It was right before his body got there, to where it was pretty tense, because they kept telling us it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Everybody was like, when is this coming? He's not here yet. He's supposed to be here by 3, so everybody's out there tense. So this cat came from the crowd, socked the police. And so I was just on my way out of there because I felt the energy building up. And it just so happened in front of me. I had my bullhorn and I just started screaming love at the top of my lungs, just love, 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 until I was all the way up on them screaming just love. And they both stopped in their tracks. The whole fight stopped. And they just looked at me, and that's when I just began to just kind of like vent everything that was really in me at that moment, because like I say, I was pretty close to Nip, you know what I'm saying? So I took it personal. I'm like, nigga, his blood is right here, and this is what y'all doing. It's like we all came out here to support him, but we forgot, because we had our own egos or whatever wanted to be fulfilled. Or I don't even know. Like I know it gets way deeper, and there's so many levels to the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. So I don't know. That could have been planned for that to happen, to sabotage that moment. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because later on that night, like I say, they said 3 shot, 2 killed, but they were hovering over Crenshaw and Slauson. When on Crenshaw and Slauson, we was out there, man, Bloods and Crips everywhere, just together. It wasn't no beef, wasn't no none of that. Everybody was hugging, people dapping each other up, saying I love you, we dancing with each other. It was that type of time, but they didn't show none of that on the news. You know what I'm saying? So these are the things that happen behind the scenes. Because by the time we get to the news, it's a whole nother story. It's a whole nother narrative that they're trying to sell. You know what I mean? So
that day was so powerful. I would never forget that day. Like, I just remember vividly being like in the middle of the street on the intersection, or in the intersection of Crenshaw and Slauson. It was like thousands of people
everywhere. That's
the first time I was like, I wasn't nervous.
Yeah, it felt good.
It felt so good because everybody was just, what's up? Hi, sis. Hey, queen. Hey, king. And everybody just, what's up? Yeah. You know, or you see a bunch of people, if you look around, they're hugging each other, or they're talking, or they're sitting down, and just, it was real peaceful.
Yeah, it wasn't like that at first, though. Depending on what day, though. I mean, but the day of his funeral procession, like I say, it would have went bad. It would have went bad because they already had their batons out. They had their helmets on. They actually dropped a picture of a black woman swinging a baton at somebody out there, and dropped the picture on later on that day. Yeah. But it didn't happen. Like, it didn't escalate to that point. They ended up taking the picture off, and it didn't, like I say, it didn't happen. I don't know what I did. I guess I foiled a bigger plan or something like that. But it wasn't, people weren't hugging at first. People was tense. You know what I mean? Like, the energy was
high.
Because you got a whole line of police that don't stay in the community, so they're insensitive to what we're going through over there, telling us where we could stand, how we could do things, how we could mourn the loss of somebody that was a staple in our community, you know what I mean? So the tension was high. That's why a guy came up from the crowd and socked the police. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But
that's actually a good point. I was actually on a town hall meeting a few months back, a Karen Bass town hall meeting on the phone, and she was talking about the police officers that are from the neighborhood should be the ones that should that patrolling the neighborhood and police. And that makes sense. Like, how are you going to have somebody that's not even from our area or neighborhood come through our neighborhoods and try to police it. We need the dude that grew up around the corner. We need the dude that, whose family or sister, brother, grandma, mom still lives in the avenues. Like, don't have the other officers that are from a whole different county come over here and try to police us and tell us what to do.
Because they're just profiling at that point.
Exactly.
They're just going off of what they hear at the precinct. Because that's happened to me plenty of times. Like, I'm from LA, so of course, this is our uniform sometimes. LA hat, white tee, you know what I mean? But it fits the mode of whatever they talk about in their precincts. He's got to be a Crip. He's got tattoos on his hand, blue LA hat, tilted to the left, like, got pulled over many times where they don't even ask me my name, man. They just like, where you from? Yeah. What's in your car? I'm like, yo, like, nigga, I'm a dad and you're actually making me late to go get my daughter right now. You know what I mean? So it's, like you said, man, we need people that are familiar with the people, familiar with the culture and the terrain. You know what I mean? Everybody don't gangbang, but understand that sometimes that costume you put on is just to keep you safe when you go outside, so you don't get pressed for not being a member. Because you might get pressed for just looking like a yee someday, you know what I mean? So we've, in LA, adapted a lot of times. Whereas, like I said, you might not even be from somewhere, but you're just trying to, like, fit in so you don't get pressed that day.
How did you dodge not joining a gang or being a part of a gang?
Shit. I got heart. I can fight.
Wow, so you fought your way out of getting jumped on.
Yeah, I ain't gonna let no nigga tell me what.
You didn't have no homies or no,
of course,
that tried to, like.
Of course, yeah. Like I grew up in Inglewood. And like I say, the first time they offered to put me on, I was like 10 years old. You know what I mean? They came. I
can't imagine.
Yeah.
Like, but that's so young. Like, my daughter's 8, and to think that they tried to jump on a 10-year-old, but I know that's normal.
Yeah, but these were teenagers.
A lot of them start at 11,
Definitely.
10, 11, 12.
Definitely. That's prime put on age. You living in the hood, you outside playing every day.
That's
nigga, you part of the hood, bro. And that's what me and my brother, they first approached my brother. You know what I mean? Preston, but my mom came outside with the frying skillet, like, get away from my son. Whereas my best friend that stayed across the street, his mama didn't run outside. So we actually ended up getting put on families to where he got 7 times life. To this day, he in jail with 7 life sentences. Damn. You know what I mean? He got put on the same time. We were all outside together, where it was more appealing to him. But my mom wasn't having that. You know what I'm saying? Like, my mom was in gangs. So she was real. And she was a reporter, too. So she did a lot of covering of gang violence, gang killings, so she was, I don't want to say paranoid, she was just being a mother trying to protect her kids, you know what I mean? But so I would say that that's what kept me from gangs, just that solid foundation and just being exposed to other things. Like I said, I played baseball, I played sports most of my life, so that kept me out of the hood a lot of times. Yeah. Like, I'm at practice when a lot of the homies are going back to the house. Like, bell ring, they go home, they on the bus getting into trouble. Bell ring for me, I'm going to practice. I'm in the weight room, I'm out there on the track.
Either you gangbang though or play sports in LA.
Yeah, so by the time I got home, I was tired. I didn't have no time to go and get into no bullshit. The only thing I had time for is to do my homework so I could stay eligible. Just because my mind was on other things. You know what I mean? When I got out of high school is when I really kind of got more into it. Just like, I was real close to my dad, and me and his relationship kind of fell apart. And the only thing that was there for me was the homies, you know what I'm saying? So my mom was somewhere else, dad was gone, I was sleeping on the floor of my grandma's house, so I was just trying to figure out how to get off the floor.
Isn't your grandmother, like, I'm not 100%, but isn't she, like, industry tied or something?
Yeah. I was at my great-grandma's house, though.
Okay,
I wasn't
got
at
it.
her
Okay.
house. She stayed in Las Vegas. I was at my great-grandma's house, which is on 74th and Western.
Okay.
So I stayed there for half part of my senior year, and I stayed there until probably like 21, until after she passed away.
Okay.
Like, she passed away when I was in jail. When I came home, it was just me and my cousin. But yeah, like around 18, that's when I kind of started becoming affiliated. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say I got like that official put on, yada. It was more so me and the homies just created our own clique. Cause I'm rebellious. You know what I mean? You ain't gonna put me on the hood, and I don't agree with what your hood stand for. If I know y'all got cowards and all this other bullshit, I'm not about to put myself in a position to be amongst cowards and weenies. You know what I'm saying? So we created our own thing, and that's when I really kind of started getting out there, just because I started putting myself around people that was really with the shits, you know what I'm saying? Like, they really hitting licks. That's how I ended up being involved in armed robberies and everything like that. It wasn't me. Like, I wasn't the one necessarily going in there with the thing.
But you was with them.
Because, you know, like I said, I didn't have no guidance at that time. You know, I was just trying to figure out, one, how to get off that floor. I was literally sleeping on the floor with just a blanket, you know what I mean? So it was like, how do I get off of this floor? So I started attaching myself to who I thought were men. So I have a big homie that really didn't give a fuck, you know what I mean? He was just on some pedophile shit. But I looked up to these cats because they had money. You know what I mean? They were what I thought a man was. They from the hood. They got clout. They OGs. I was like, okay, that's what I want to be like. I want a Benz too. I want a hog too. You know what I mean? I want pounds of weed too. So that's what I went and got. You know what I mean? 18, 19, I had pounds. You know what I'm saying?
It's so hard for black men in LA, black and brown men in LA. It's either like, and you really kind of lucky, you know, if you make it out. But that also comes from too, like, your village. Like you said, like you had your mom that kind of was like coming outside, you know, or you had big homies or people around you that were kind of like, nah, that weren't cowards. But also too, you stood for something. Yeah. You know, I have my nephew just turned 18 and I mean, he goes to Crenshaw. My sister said, I'm enrolling him. I said, no, you're not. Right. Because I remember how that shit used to be when we went there.
Yeah, it's extra.
You know, like it's ridiculous. Like super gangbang. Either you gangbang or you play sports. But it's so easy if you're not strong and mentally like tapped in to get caught up in that. And I was afraid. Even though I trust my nephew, I was like, okay, he's a good boy. He'll never. But then again, it's easy to kind of get trapped up in it.
Peer pressure is real.
You know, so luckily he kind of took to sports and then he academically just excelled. Like he's 3.4 in all AP classes. And now he's wrote his college acceptance letters are rolling in. Yeah. At Crenshaw, I was like, well, damn, he made it out, you know? So it's either that, you know, you have a couple that kind of, you know, slither through academically, you know, then you have the ones that join gangs, or then you have the ones that kind of take to the more creative side, either sports or art or music, you know, and we have a lot of, we just have a lot of talent coming out of
everywhere.
I mean, like LA, we're booming right now with so many different creators, and we're really in a creative space that people are really finding their like light right now.
Yeah, I think the industry is starting to realize it too. You know, they say they got to go all the way across the country and everything. They just come down to South Central, bro. Like,
everybody wants to tap into LA.
Yeah, come down here on Crenshaw, bro. It's a whole bunch of people that's rapping, that really care, that really want to do something with their talent. You know what I mean? Like you ain't got to go far. LA is just packed.
Yeah, it is. And I think with COVID too, and I know I saw you too, like, you know, that was like a really good time to kind of really tap into like your creative bag. Like if you weren't coming out of COVID, either with, because I know a lot of y'all was EDD scamming. There was a lot of scams going on during COVID. A lot of scamming going on through COVID.
17 EDD cards.
Outside of the scamming, it should have been a lot of like creativeness. Like you should have came out of COVID with just so much more insight or just in a more creative space.
Well, they got creative, though. They got creative with scamming. Yeah, man. I ain't never see the elevate to this level, boy. I said, you got 17 in them cards, boy. I said,
yeah, the scams were at an all-time high. It was terrible. But, and it still is, though. But, I mean, that's their business. But going back to my point was just like, that was just kind of the time when everything was shut down to just kind of get in your bag and create.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
It made me, because when it hit, I realized how unprepared I was. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh, shit. Like, I don't have enough money saved up. It was like, it really put me in scramble mode. And it made me realize how comfortable I was, how comfortable I had got. You know what I mean? Just with my career, money flowing in, like, had Airbnbs going. I had a lot of revenue streams coming. And so when the government came in, it was like, no, yo, we shutting this down. And when people started canceling their Airbnb, and I'm just sitting here with my savings, and the barbershop closed, it was like, yo, what do I have to do with what I have to get active, really, more than anything, you know what I mean? Like, because with this music, I'm motivated by the money, but I don't do it for the money, because I know how to produce money for myself, you know what I mean? But like I say, I was like, I can't just be in the house like everybody else. Like, I didn't want to start scamming. I didn't want to like do none of the other shit that other people was doing. I wanted to challenge myself to bring the things that I had been holding back. I wanted to bring everything that I've been holding in myself. I wanted to bring it out. I was like, I need to get uncomfortable. Yeah. I need to get out of this comfortable spot that I've created for myself, because I'm making this set amount of money. I was cool with that. Yeah. You know what I mean? He was like, you making damn near 10 bands a month. It's like, nigga, you straight, because you making more than everybody in your community.
That's great.
I shouldn't even said that on TV.
Edit that out. We all in your pockets now.
Yeah, edit that out. But yeah, it just forced me to get uncomfortable, because this ain't easy, man, to put my personal, like, these are my personal feelings that I'm sharing with people. I'm becoming extremely vulnerable, you know what I mean, on a weekly basis. So it's a challenge for me, and that's what pushed me to do it, because I look at uncomfortable places as that uncharted territory that you have to go through to elevate, you know what I mean? So I just looked at it as that challenge that I have to go through to get to where I want to be. Yeah. You know what I mean? I want to be great, you know what I mean? Absolutely. So you got to go through some things to actually be that, you know what I mean? So that's what COVID did for me, man. It made me become who I am and what I am more than anything. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't just sit and let people just tell me what I can.
It's kind of like discovering a new version of yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I didn't know I had all of this in me. Like I've known it was in me because I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like I'm drawing it and I'm writing it. Yeah. But to see it now and to see how people are receiving it, I didn't know. Mm-hmm. Like I've only been holding on to what God been telling me about myself this whole time. You know what I mean? Through the prophecies that he's given me, the things that I'm gonna see and go through. That's all I've been holding on to. Mm-hmm. That's what keeps me motivated, because I can't see the person that's gonna receive it until I drop the video.
Absolutely.
But before I drop the video, I'm nervous. I'm like, man, they gonna feel it. What the homies gonna say about me dressing up like an old man and having a homie hugging somebody? You know what I'm saying? It's like I was thinking about all these things. Like
it was like a lot of messages in that video.
Oh, so many. Just because, like I said at the end of the song, with everything that's pitted against the nation of black people, you know what I mean? What food, McDonald's on every fucking corner, liquor store, we got all of these things pitted against us to keep us at a low vibration. It's like, why are we still doing one of the main things, bro, that's taking us out and keeping us down here? Because it's psychological to me. I mean, gangbanging is extremely psychological. So it's like you take a young boy and you get him to think that this is all he is, and you put him in a box. Mm-hmm. You don't allow his mind to develop. So for me, it was deeper than just putting on an old man outfit. You know what I mean? I wanted to talk to I consider this war, you know what I'm saying? Like I look at all my friends as very powerful individuals, and they not showing it because we're caught in this idea, like we have to be this. It's like, okay, I'm from here. This is how we stand. This is how we look. This is what we do. Mm-hmm. Whereas I'm on the outside looking in, and I know this person personally. I'm like, nigga, you cry, like you sing, like you do all these great things that you're hiding inside of you because you're trying to appease the homies. Whatever insecurity is that we learn from our trauma as little kids, because I mean that's what happened to me. You know what I mean? Nobody validated me, so I went looking for validation in the homies, people that I could relate with, people that also didn't have parents or a father figure in their life at that moment. I found people that were hurt just like me, and it was, like I said, it was comfortable to just be around people that are doing dirt, that aren't challenging themselves to get that 3.4 like your nephew. You know what I mean? Like, whereas that was easy. You know, like I'm saying, I made the honor roll in my senior year because I pushed myself. But if you're not around those type of people that motivate you, I mean, you're gonna live in that box constantly. You're gonna stay there. So I wanted to make that song and ask a question. I need to know, because I do. Like, with everything that's going on, we see our community, we see them giving housing vouchers, moving us out. Like, we see what's going on. They obviously don't give a fuck about us.
They moving us out.
So why are we still, why are we still, you know what I mean, going against each other? Yeah. And like, I really was motivated because of my time in the county jail. I mean, you get in there, and as soon as you get in there, oh, what's up, Black? How you doing? Like, where you at? Oh, what do you need? I got this. You got a kit? You got a brush? You got this? You want to spread? Like, it's like we're so loving, and we're so like trying to like bring each other into the fold, and it's like unity. Like, hey, we got to stick together here, Black. So I was like, nigga, why can't we do this back to the streets? Because I'm like, I'm seeing all these people. I mean, you got Thunderdomes, you got people fighting all over the place. There's no guns in there, so you really see who the bitch ass niggas are. But that was like, it was like a, I don't want to say proving ground, but how can I say? I just saw what it could be. I saw how we could operate with each other. Like, I saw our potential, and so when I got out, I didn't go back to the hood. Like, I went back the first day. I was like, yeah, I'm back home. They're like, oh, no good, it's back. Bro, we got a lick. I said, well, you got a lick?
That's crazy.
Nigga, I just got home.
First day out, ready.
First day out, and I got 2 strikes. Nah. You know what I'm saying? I got 2 strikes, and you're trying to have me go on a lick, knowing that I have kids. So I didn't go back to I said, fuck the homies. I said, you know what I mean? I'm out of here. Went and got, you know what I mean, a regular job, just kind of stayed away because what I saw, it wouldn't allow me to go back. Yeah. You know what I mean? I couldn't go from having spreads when niggas from Hoover or 6-0 or A-Trey. All of us from these hoods that don't get along on the streets, we all are sitting having a spread together. Like, we're literally throwing everything we have in our bags from canteen. We're all throwing it in this pot to eat with each other.
Crazy how that works, right?
Whereas as soon as I walk out of the county now, though,
now y'all separated.
It's like, now you from Hoover now again, you from 6-0 again, you from A-Trey again, you from Inglewood family again, and you can't express that you was actually just, nigga, you gave this nigga from Hoover your apple. Whereas in the streets, it's like, nah, you can't tell a nigga that you just gave an apple to your sworn enemy in the streets. It's like, so like I said, when I got back to the block, I was like, fuck that. I got to go against the grain. I got to be the one to tell everybody. Like, that's just been my position that I've taken. Like, I want to use my voice to tell people. Like, I want to be a catalyst. I want to be that ingredient that's missing to spark action in people. To be like, damn, like, why are we still doing this shit, bro? Because I noticed like a lot of the homies ain't saying this, but they're not acting, or they're saying it because I'm a barber, so everybody's venting to me. Like, I'm like, everybody telling me like, bro, I'm tired of this shit. Like, you get niggas that when they finally get off the block and they're in the safe place in my barber chair, they venting to me. They crying like, bro, I just lost another homie. Oh, bro, I'm tired of this shit, bro. I don't know what to do. They're telling me all of this shit. So I'm like, bro, I gotta say something. I gotta be their voice. Since they don't have heart enough to walk away, I gotta, you know what I mean?
That's the problem.
I gotta say something. I gotta do something. So I just use what I have. I got a voice.
Music.
I got a word.
And outside of Matthew Mondays, what else are you kind of like tapping into and bringing into the new year?
Production company.
Oh, dope. Okay.
Screenwriting.
Okay.
Ghostwriting, placements, like all of that. That's everything I'm focusing on. Like the music is just the vehicle to bring all of these other talents and gifts
and
that I have inside
the
of me.
bag is really behind the scenes. Like to do you said ghostwriting and filmmaking or film writing. All of that is a straight bag.
Yeah, I can write.
Yeah.
So it's like the money was made for me. All I got to do is create it though. You know what I mean? So that's all I've been focusing on. Like my pen ain't left the paper since pandemic. Well, I mean, I always write, but I set my intentions a little bit different this time. You know what I mean? I said that this pen right here is going to open the floodgates. Yeah. So that's why I tell myself all the time, this is going to open the floodgates. So I just keep writing because I want the floodgates to open because, you know what I mean? Once they do open, I can start really sharing the way that I want to. I can start giving the way that I want to. All these ideas that I have, you know what I mean? They're really going to be able to come to fruition. So I just...
Well, I'm rooting for you. I'm excited for you. I appreciate like all the content that you're putting out, the consistency, because that's what it is. It's all about being consistent. Right. And I'm just really looking forward to seeing what's next for you. And outside of you, my haircuts. Right. I'm looking forward to the music and, you flourishing in that regard is just going to be so dope. And the visuals, the filmmaking, the writing, all of that. Let's keep manifesting that.
Indeed.
Let's keep manifesting that. Outside of that, anything else you want to share? Like, can you drop your social media handles? Where can we find you? How can we stay in touch with you?
Social media. Can I look in the camera? It's Matthew Sutton. That's ITS. Get the level there. ITS Matthew Sutton. If you just put Matthew Sutton, you're gonna find somebody that don't look like me. You got to put the It's Matthew Sutton on there, and I'm on YouTube, Matthew Sutton, Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, everywhere you can find music, bro. That's where I'm at. But most of my videos, though, I will say, I haven't dumped them over to YouTube yet because my laptop is tripping. That's a long story, but most of them they're all.
But you working on it?
Yeah. I had a little issue with my Apple.
It's Matthew Sutton.
On
YouTube,
it's on Instagram.
My
videos is on Instagram. That's
I'm sure if we throw Matthew Sutton on Google, we'll be able to find you.
Oh yeah, it's gonna pop up. My MySpace pictures are gonna pop up. Everything gonna pop up. Dope. You put that in there. But
thank you for sitting with me. This was tight. This was real tight. Thank you. I appreciate you.
It was so short, man. I want to keep talking to you.
We can talk. We can keep talking, but it's off the camera.
Yeah, that's all good.
Thanks again for joining me.
For sure.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Peace.
Some news you can use with your host, Khrissy B. Get familiar. Yeah. Get familiar. Get familiar. Get familiar. You gotta get familiar. Yeah.